Panthers owner David Tepper. I want to talk about this because, Lisa, I'll ask you first. Like, as a player, I mean, he's the boss. He's the dude writing the checks. And when you see that video, and I think producer Harry's going to show it, you also see Scott Fitter, the GM, standing there, and he might as well be a statue because he doesn't know what to do. He's like, I'm not making a face. I'm not even moving until the dude leaves, and then I'll figure this out. I mean, that's Fitter in the white long sleeve shirt there, the dress shirt, and there goes the drink. Yeah. And the boss leaves. And he's like, "Yep, I'm gonna pretend like he ain't even there." Like, how do you like when the owner comes to talk to you in the? Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you. I was talking to Rick about this as well in the podcast, Rick Spielman, and he's like, "There's nothing you can do because I feel terrible for Scott Fitter." Okay. But that's the dude writing the checks. Is there anything like? Are you talking about it with your dudes in the locker room? Like, how do you? Sort of take all this in and make sense of it.
Man, I went to texting people right away from Carolina when that happened because I saw it and they hadn't seen it yet, obviously, right? Because, you know, the internet is fast, it's instant. Like, that's the difference between like a few years ago and now. Like, as soon as something happened, it goes on the internet. So I texted a few dudes and they were like, what the F is literally is what they said. So, like, it's crazy to me. I've had this discussion all day long over here at CBS. And the thing is, it's a scenario where the players are always held to a higher standard, and we get it, right? Because there's only a minute amount of players that can do what we do, right? Or people on earth that can do what we do. Yep. Well, there's even less owners in the NFL, right? There's 1 of 32. So it is a privilege to buy into a team, to be an owner in the NFL. So if you're going to hold your employees, the players, and people upstairs to a certain standard, why does it seem like owners are never held to that same standard? Again, when you look at it, the $300,000 fine was like a drop in the bucket for this guy.
No question.
I think they said they accounted for like 176 in real life.
Somebody did the math on it. I think, depending on who you ask, David Tepper, the owner of the Panthers, is worth between $13 or $20 billion.
Yeah, he's one of the richest owners in the league, if I'm not mistaken.
And when you do the math, it literally is like charging someone who makes $100,000 25 cents, a quarter. That's what the fine is.
So what is that going to do for him, right? Like he's writing that off. My thing is there should have been some type of suspension because I guess this is maybe pushing it far, but that's technically assault, what he did, right? When you throw a drink on somebody.
Hey, Leger, he threw the water on the right one because we would have been sitting down, man. My eyesight ain't the same no more. I'm emotionally distressed. I'm nervous. Man. I feel some type of way.
I would have jumped in front of the water. I would have jumped in front of the water and been like, was there acid in there?
Yeah. But guys, think about this though, real quick on this whole Tepper situation. Unprofessional at the most, right? Yeah. And you're an owner, one of the richest owners in the league, as you mentioned. It's only 32, and he got hit with a $300,000 fine, which, as you stated, Ryan, it was like pennies. It's a quarter to what he's worth. But then Big Dom from the Eagles security, he can't even get back on the sideline.
That's what I'm saying. It's a double standard, and I don't get it. My thing is, there's no way he should have been allowed to be at this last home game. B-Mac, it should have not only just been a fine; it should have been a suspension as well.
Yeah, he should have been suspended because when you talk about the head of security for Philly, kind of got in a little tussle verbally with a player. You removed him from the sideline instantly. Yeah. Then the following week, you said he can't go on the sideline. He has to watch it from a box
for the rest of the season.
And then you said for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So he didn't throw any water on anybody. He got in a little verbal issue with a player. I understand you can't do that. You talk about an owner threw water on people. That's disrespectful. That's something that you teach your kids to not do.
Correct.
Like you threw water on people. I wouldn't throw water on my pets. Better yet, an individual who I don't know.
You might do it once.
If I'm giving them a bath, I'll do that. But just in a disrespectful way because you're mad, and he's mad because his team is getting whipped. And that's the thing, Leger, you know how it is as players. When you go to a ball game, and even as fans, when you go to a ball game, you're in enemy territory. If your team is not looking good, fans they will say whatever it is they want to say. You got to have tough skin.
Well, perfect example. There's a video that went viral of a guy walking by Mark Davis, I believe, in Vegas, and literally talking crazy to him. Like, he said some of the most outrageous stuff. Now, I don't know what that Jaguar fan said, but I couldn't imagine that it was worse than what dude was saying to Mark Davis. You know what he did? He smiled, rose his drink up to him, and took a sip and waved. That's what he did. That's what you're supposed to do. Like, you can't have a temper tantrum because somebody is berating you and talking crazy to you because your team is terrible right now. Like, that's what happens when you're the owner and your team is struggling. They're going to find you, especially if the window's open, and they're going to talk trash.
And once they know that you're going to take it, they're going to get
yeah. You have to be an adult, take your medicine, and just keep it pushing.
Exactly. No question.
By the way, Scott Fowler, who covers the Panthers for the Charlotte Observer, wrote about this the other day. He said, and this is no surprise, that Tepper has fired basically all the people that will tell him no. So when you're surrounded by people that will only tell you what you want to hear, you're going to get in these situations where the GM, it just acts like you're invisible because he doesn't know what to do either.
Oh yeah, if you're the GM, best bet just be quiet. Act like you don't even see it.
That's right.
I don't see nothing.
Yeah.
Well, this is an interesting thing, and I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but there's been conspiracies thrown out there by a lot of Panther fans that supposedly, if you look at what Tepper's done in the last 5 years, right? He's been through 3 head coaches. They were in the running to build that facility in Rock Hill, right across from Charlotte in South Carolina. He pulls and yanks that the last second. Supposedly, maybe this is him doing all this to potentially try to move the team from Carolina.
Well, he's still going to be the owner. I mean, he's still going to be crazy.
Yeah, but maybe he's just trying to alienate the fan base there so bad where he could just move the team.
Man, that is a conspiracy theory. And I'll say this, and Rick pointed this out too. If you're Ben Johnson, you want to come coach here?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Ben Johnson ain't going there. He's going to have the pick of the litter. He ain't going there.
Right. They're only 32 organizations, only 32 owners, only 32 jobs, but that's not the one you may want.
If we give him 20 a year,
the Panthers will not get a noteworthy head coaching candidate. They got to get someone who's just wanting to be a head coach.
Yeah.
They're not getting the guy who like Harbaugh, Ben Johnson, Belichick. They're not getting that type guy.
I mean, Jim Harbaugh would last 4 hours at that place, given the way he likes to do things and the way things that